Well, one of President Trump's chief trade negotiators in the hot seat before the Senate Finance Committee this hour, the USTR, U.S. Trade Rep, Megan Casella, here with headlines. So what have we heard so far, Megan?
Hey, Sarah, an interesting hearing. This is an annual hearing, but getting a lot of headlines today, just given the timing where it falls this year. We're hearing the trade ambassador really defending quite forcefully the administration's trade policy, but also a little bit of news. Take a listen to this first soundbite where he talks about how negotiations with other countries so far have been going.
As the countries come to approach us, what we've told them is if you have a better idea to achieve reciprocity and to get our trade deficit down, we want to talk to you. I don't want to prejudge the negotiations, but if they're able to provide an alternative plan that can further these objectives, I think we're open to that.
So emphasizing there that, as we have heard, the administration's overarching goal is reducing the trade deficit. But what I hear him saying there is that they're open to ideas that don't include tariffs. So that's the focus when other countries are coming to the table. What can you offer us to help reduce the trade deficit that might not include a tariff as long as we reach that same end goal? That's where they're focused. He also was asked specifically about whether there's any possibility of a delay before these tariffs are set to take effect tomorrow. Take a listen.
Will higher tariffs go into effect tomorrow as announced?
Senator, yes, they're scheduled to go into effect. We are having negotiations with all kinds of countries at this time. The president's fixed in his purpose. The nature of the emergency that I discussed earlier is not something we can wait on anymore. So we will have the president's plan go into effect, and we're coupling that with immediate negotiations with our partners as they seek to.
So it's not a question of something being scheduled. You're committing this morning that they're going to go into effect.
This is what the president has said.
A little bit of room left there where he's saying that's what the president has said. This is what's scheduled, very clearly not wanting to make news there. It does raise the question of, is there still a possibility of a delay? He's trying to close the door there without making news. We'll have to see if we get anything further, guys, from the White House on that timeline today.
Where does he sit in the list of advisors who are advising the president on trade and negotiating with trading partners? Because Treasury Secretary Bessent is taking the lead on the Japanese negotiations, as he posted on X yesterday, which I think the market really liked to see him in the front seat there. There's Commerce Secretary Lutnick. There's Peter Navarro. I mean, how does the USTR fit in here? Traditionally, this would be right in their wheelhouse.
Absolutely. By statute, USTR is actually the one that negotiates with other nations, so they're meant to take the lead. Treasury, though, has more of the glitz and the glamour, and it's a higher-ranking post traditionally, and so it's not unusual to see Treasury take center stage. Think about Secretary Mnuchin in the first term. Greer is also someone, he was Ambassador Lighthizer, the former trade representative. He was his chief of staff in the first term. So far, we've seen him stay quite quiet, sort of wanting to stay a little bit in the background, while also the goal of the USTR generally has been to promote trade and to lead negotiations around the world. So he's alongside Bessent with those negotiations, but of course, given the role that Bessent has, he takes the lead there. Lutnick does more of the domestic stuff. We know that Navarro is right inside the White House, so he has some advantage there. I would just say to keep an eye on Greer, because Lighthizer similarly started sort of in a background role and became quite a leader, became a right-hand man to President Trump, was even floated as a chief of staff in the first term, if you guys remember that. So we'll see where Greer goes from here, but if he stays in Trump's good graces, it's often, Trump likes his trade advisors to stay front and center.
Megan, in terms of trying to characterize where things stand for potential negotiations, I guess Japan and now also potentially South Korea as well, given the post we got this morning from the president?
Yes, absolutely. And just in the last couple of minutes of the hearing before I came to sit here, the Ambassador Greer was asked about China specifically. He was sort of sowing doubt on a quick deal with China. He was saying that so far the administration is focused on talking most closely with trading partners that are offering solutions or trying to find ways to reduce the trade deficit. They're really not happy, as we heard Bessent say on our air this morning as well, they're really not happy with China's retaliation. So what Greer said is that the president is prioritizing these talks with folks who are trying to cut their tariffs and trying to make a deal, and that China so far is really not high on that list. He said Trump wants to focus on other partners and not on China at this point.
Megan, great. Thank you. Megan Casella in D.C.